Well, we don't really have much to talk about this week. There's nothing that's happened over the last 7 days in the world of wrestling, right?
What a quiet summer we're having.
I know, it's incredible. There's no free agents coming in. There's no free agents going out. There's
Right.
no attempted murders on television. There's nothing. There's none of that. None of it at all. Welcome to Final Wrestling Place. I'm Tim.
I'm still Marcus.
And
those are sounds of freedom.
they are sounds of big freedom. It's what we like to call it. Yeah, we're relaxing, we're chillaxing, and we're enjoying. There's other podcasts on the network that are not weather podcasts, but I'll tell you right now, it's hot. It's hot, Jack.
I know. I don't like to sell for heat. It's a little toasty.
Dog,
it is a little toasty.
It's still 83 here.
As you might say in sports, when the score is getting run up, it's getting late early.
It's getting late early. It is.
We are in August form, and heading into the end of June here.
I'm not ready for August then.
Baby, throw it on me.
August is going to be 120 degrees.
Let's go.
Skin melting.
Let's go.
But yeah, man, we've got so much to cover, so many things to talk about. And we're glad that you're able to join us, however you join us on your podcatcher of choice, on YouTube. However you found out about us, whether it's through the Discord or through our Instagram or our Twitter. We're glad that you're able to join us on this ride this week. We actually do have a lot of stuff to talk about. Outgoing free agents, incoming free agents, attempted murders on television, the whole nine, plus a little bit of this, a little bit of that a little later. I have to double check first. Undertaker,
do you have the other drop?
Do you have anything for me that I could possibly use?
It's like steroids for your wiener, but legal.
Yeah,
I forgot about the whistle.
And that's not Taker doing the whistle. That's his That's his young
not
boy,
Conrad.
Matt.
Not Conrad.
Not Conrad. Not Connie. But we have an undertaking this week with a wrestling adjacent person, I guess. He's not a wrestler, but it's close enough. It's in the circle. It makes me want to listen.
Sounds like it's Jason Hervey. Is it Jason Hervey?
It's not Jason Hervey, but it's
okay.
It is. Have you seen the thing on the internet of people talking about bad NBA players, but they're like,
oh, okay, this dude was a problem.
Nick Collison is the Nick Collison of Nick Collisons.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy is the Jason Hervey of Sean Ross Saps.
Oh, okay. I get it.
So you know who this is now?
Maybe. I think so.
Okay. Do you want to know now, or do you want to wait for the undertaking?
I want to wait. I want to wait for the undertaking. Give me some suspense.
So, but of course, before we get started with anything else,
we've got a show-long thread now.
We do have a show-long thread. Unless you have the internet and you can Google who the Undertaker had on 6 Feet Under a week ago. Don't worry, it's right here in 90 minutes for your wiener. But this week, again, we're starting off with the best topic in all of podcasting, blind rankings.
That's right, Mr.
Marcus
Tim.
and I, we just randomly pick a topic and we get a list of 5 things and we make the other person rank them. Do you want to go first, or you want me to put you on the chopping block?
No, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat first. I got
I'm here.
I got 5 for you right here, and our category is my fave 5, man. I want you to power rank these. Please blind rank these Money in the Bank cash-ins
Okay. All right. Here we go.
All right. Your first one, Randy Orton on Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that's sneaky good. That's a sneaky good one. But I feel like there are ones that are better and there's ones that are worse. So that puts Randy at 3.
Okay. Next up, Dolph Ziggler on Alberto Del Rio.
There's one better than that cash in. I'm gonna put Ziggles at 1.
All right. Next up, Carmella on Charlotte.
5. Easy 5. So much so that I know she cashed in, but to me there was more interest in like the money, her winning Money in the Bank and then not winning Money in the Bank because of that guy. I don't even want to say his name because it's like saying Beetlejuice too many times. He just shows up.
And then he'll try to get you to book Matt Riddle, and then he will also then try to get himself booked on a show for a couple $100.
This guy is what would be a good analogy? Okay, here it is. So James Ellsworth is the Marty Scurll of Drake Mavericks.
Was Drake Maverick? No, that's a little guy. He didn't do anything wrong, did he?
No, but I'm saying
Drake younger.
If you're comparing, if you're
Sorry.
comparing all little guys.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought you were okay. I thought it was more about being canceled and less about being little.
No, it was saying that James Ellsworth is
gotcha.
It's in relation. Right. It's in relation to Drake Maverick and how far away he is from Drake Maverick.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Next up, you have Rob Van Dam on John Cena.
I feel fairly confident in putting this at 2, which means that whatever's left is 4.
That's right. Number 4 for you is Big E cashing in on Big Bob Lashley.
That makes me so sad.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair.
I think you nailed it, Tim. You've got at 5, Carmelo on Charlotte. At 4, Big E on Lashley. 3, Orton on Bryan. 2, RVD on Cena. And number 1, Ziggler on Del Rio.
Yeah, I think Big E's would have been. I think Big E's was cool because he like called his shot. And like we had the whole day to know, like, Big E's doing it.
Gotta watch the last 10 minutes of Raw tonight.
Well, it wasn't even the last 10 minutes. I think that the cash-in was like in the middle of the show.
No, it was at the very end of the show.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
Pretty sure it was at the end of the show.
I believe you, but my Tommy gun don't. I have a topic that's near and dear to your heart. Marcus, right. I need you to blind rank these 5 spear doers.
All right, let's go.
You can grade them however you want to grade them, but they all have done or currently do the spear as a signature / finishing maneuver.
Okay.
We start with the Pinnacle. Adam Copeland, Edge.
Oh, you know what? He's actually put the little side spin on it to get out of the way so he doesn't get a little neck jammy. I'm gonna move that, bumps him up from 5 to 4.
Okay, big 4 dog. Next up, a man who probably should have never started doing the spear, but he did it anyways. The Big Show.
Yeah, Big Show. That's got to be a 5.
A little 5 bucket. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up is a newcomer to the Spear Gang, and that is Braun Breaker.
He's got potential, but he hasn't realized it yet. I'm gonna put him at 3.
Number 3. Okay. Next up, probably the gold standard of spears, some would say. Goldberg.
Goldberg didn't know that wrestling was fake.
Hey, it's crazy. You say that about some people and they're universally loved. And then you say it about Goldberg and everybody hates his stinking guts.
2.
2. Which leaves number 1 for a man who we often celebrate here on this podcast, who just recently had a day, and that is wrestling's father, Christian Cage.
Okay.
All right.
I have no problem ever ranking Christian number 1 at anything. What I do like about Christians is it's like he got shanked. Like he hits it, like he sticks it real good.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It is a technical spear. Like he definitely does Edge's spear, but it's
a form, yeah. It's a form tackle.
Technically sound.
Yeah.
So your blind rankings for spear doers is The Big Show at 5, Adam Copeland at 4, Braun Breaker at 3, Bill Goldberg at 2, and Christian Cage at 1.
Not mad at it.
We didn't do bad this time.
No, pretty good. Let us know.
We've almost figured it out.
We might have. I got to come up with a new game. Let us know your blind ranking results. On the at the TNM Show's Discord channel, inside the soon-to-be named network Discord.
Yes, but Marcus, we're doing a regular checkup. I think every so often you go to the doctor, and then the doctor hits you with one of them little business cards, and on the back it says your next visit is this date. Well, now it's this date has come around, and it's our turn to kind of check in with like the regular world of wrestling for the meat and potatoes of this podcast. What side of the aisle do you want to start on? Do you want to talk AEW, or do you want to talk WWE?
Let's go with AEW.
Okay. So AEW it's kind of like the tale of two companies, right? There's what you see, and then there's the results of what you saw, right? It looks like AEW is kind of putting some continuity together with some things as they lead into Forbidden Door. But we're talking about losing ratings to Big Bang Theory? Like,
I almost can't believe that is real information. I feel like that is information from somebody who sometimes gets a press pass from AEW and might have heard from somebody that could be a reason why like the first quarter hour might be down. But the fact that was thrown out there as like a valid reason, I can't believe that call came from inside the house.
Like, it's hard to think that it did, right? But all the reports say it's WB Discover, right? Like, that's what they said?
That's what they said, and I just have a hard time thinking that, like, you spend the last week heavily on social media and on Last Dynamite and probably Collision. I didn't watch, but I'm going to assume so. So you spent like good time on your television for the last week advertising the first match back, really, for one of your biggest draws / characters in MJF. And the hook is hey, first 30 minutes of the show is commercial free. His match is on first. And you do a whole little angle to add some juice into it to get you to tune in. And the fact that Young Sheldon or Big Bang Theory or whatever is the reason why that did a low quarter hour. I think like it's almost like that got leaked so nobody would look at like, they ran the commercial free gimmick and it with MJF, who's a big deal in the company, and it didn't do so hot.
Right.
Almost like a protection.
Right. But who are you protecting? Like, who are you protecting anyone from? Or who's like, I don't want to say like whose ego are you coaxing or coddling or whatever, but yeah, it's wild. But I do not want to focus on the negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's easy to do. It's clickbaity, it's fear-mongery, whatever. But AEW's putting it together, right? Like leading up to Forbidden Door, the Swerve stuff with Ospreay is heating up. Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa is as hot as it's ever going to be. Respectfully. Yeah, man, Forbidden Door is going to be lit.
Yeah, so like my, I guess, analysis of like the renewed focus on TV is like they've got the Owen going on. So there's like a level of concentration that has to be there because you've committed to like these brackets. So and it's like, it's work rate heavy, whatever, yada, yada. But that there's a level of focus that comes with that because we have these matches for this purpose, for this next event or whatever.
Right.
And then on top of that, you have the level of focus heading into Forbidden Door, which is a themed pay-per-view. And although there's a lot of AEW storylines woven in that don't really fit the theme of the show, there's still the level of Forbidden Door of getting the Japanese-based talent in.
Mm-hmm.
And being part of your weekly TV to build up to the pay-per-view. So I think it's kind of those two factors. And then I think that another third factor, which I guess is like the cherry on top, is you got two acts who you don't really want to mess with their booking, even though they haven't been the best with Swerve. They've done better recently. But and Will Ospreay, who they have not messed with his booking whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you add like those three components up and it gives AEW this level of focus that really stretches, I don't know, for throughout 80% of the card.
Right. It's kind of crazy how when things make sense, everything kind of flows together, right? And we're not now. There is a lot of harm, or not. I wouldn't say harm done, but for everything that has focus, there's a lot of things that have kind of lost focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Orange Cassidy kind of seems like a rudderless ship right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since they had everything that happened with the international title, where he loses it to Mox, and then Mox gets the concussion, loses it to Rey Fenix. Phoenix loses it back to OC, and then OC has like the little baby run to get it to Roddy.
Right, ends up beating Mox. Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, what has OC done? He was there. I'm trying to think of who else has kind of like lost all of their juice or most of their juice. I mean, I guess
no FTR.
Well, that's injury related.
Right. Yeah.
But no FCR, no Eddie Kingston, which are two big players who I'd probably see on this Forbidden Door show anyways. The Forbidden, not the Forbidden Kingdom, Edge being hurt, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Undisputed Kingdom, is the Wardlow hurt?
I've got no idea.
Yeah, but it's crazy, right? All Adam Cole did was get kicked in the junk, but the Undisputed Kingdom has nothing they want to do with MJF.
He also took a needless brain buster.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Yeah. TNM shows
nothing
Discord.
jam smearing, but like
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, AEW is trying to shuffle the deck and trying to count their cards and get them lined up to where they need to be. The women are strong right now.
Yeah, like you got
the top women are strong.
That's the top, right?
Tony, Mariah, Mina, Willow, Chris.
Yeah.
And you can't even really count Mina, right? Mina's not AEW.
Right. But yeah, but
Mercedes.
Those 5 talents. I keep being told that she's a big deal.
They present. Look, I do the same thing with WWE. I have to give AEW the same benefit of the doubt, right? If they want to tell me she's a big deal, even if I don't believe that she's a big deal, right? They are presenting her as such. She is the TBS champion. Taking on Stephanie Vacker at Forbidden Door. Heck of a show. She just showed up at AAA's last event, interrupting Stephanie during her after her match, talking at Ish. So riveting. Yeah, I mean, again, we're not if you were here for the Mercedes Moné Love Fest, you need to go down a couple more doors. You're not here yet. You gotta that party that reception is down the hall and to the right a little bit. That's not us, right? But do you expect anything else to really come up for Forbidden Door? That's gonna let me take a look at the card really quick.
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be now more reason as to why this Ospreay and Swerve match was made here and now and not held off for Wembley. And I guess I will drop my booking sheet that I submitted to Joe to submit to Tony. But I had this being the first match of a series, and Homeboy needs to hit the Tiger Driver but can't do it because he'll feel bad about killing his friend. And it ends up costing him the match. So that's 1 in the win column for Swerve. Run it back again in Wembley. And this time, Ospreay hits the jank, kills his friend, right?
Right.
But wins the title in his hometown or whatever, wherever he's from, I don't know. Wins it in Wembley. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Take Swerve off TV for a couple weeks. Bring him back. I believe Russell Dream is in Seattle again, right? Or Tacoma, one of those towns.
I don't know.
I think it's back in Washington State though. And so then boom, October, Swerve gets the home game. So you do the neutral site.
You're not even counting All Out, right?
No, because I think Swerve's off TV because he got the jank. So and he brings Swerve back for the return match, and whatever happens there. That was what I had planned for the 3 of them, but then the word gets out that Ricochet is on his way, or at least it seems like the strong indicator
right,
is that's the direction that's going. So yeah, they're gonna want to do the Ospreay Ricochet match. I guess we had it in whenever that was, 2014, 2015, even better. We got it when we're 40.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I love your booking sheet. The only thing that's in the way is the Owen. Because the winner of the Owen goes on to face the AEW World Champion at Wembley.
Yeah.
So, unless Will Ospreay is going to win another thing.
Yes.
He's not even in the tournament.
I would make an injury happen. He hops in and wins that bad boy. Oh my gosh.
You run the risk, you start doing that, you run the risk of turning him into John Cena.
Or Becky Lynch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes, you're right,
Yeah.
but it's still not good. It's not positive. Regardless of how you spin it, it's not the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so right now there's 9 matches on Forbidden Door. I think it's locked down. I don't think they're adding any more, or if they do, they're all going to be on the buy-in.
Okay.
And right now it looks like the only thing they're missing is the last participant in the TNT Championship ladder match.
There's a ladder match?
Yes. I'm going to play a real early version of Does Marcus Know the Card?
The answer is no.
Yeah.
No.
But
I know the world title match.
There's
Mina
2 world
and
title
Tony.
there's 3 world title matches if you ask.
Is it Naito and John Moxley?
Naito Mox for IWGP.
Okay. You got the AEW world title match.
Yep, we just talked about it.
And Ham, Tony and Mina.
Tony and Mina. Ham.
Yeah.
We just said Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vacker.
Okay, I forgot about that.
Then you've got the trios match with the Learning Tree versus Joe Goon.
Totally forgot about that.
You've got the Owen Hart first round tournament match for the dudes.
Shingo and
American Dragon
Danielson?
versus Japanese Dragon. Yep.
Right. Okay.
You've got MJF versus Who the Heck is Hechicero?
I forgot that was on the pay-per-view and not TV.
I'm saying Who the Heck is Hechicero because we had a friend of ours in the private chats. It's like, who the F is Hechicero? ZSJ versus OC.
That's right. Okay.
And then the ladder match for the TNT Championship. It's Leo Rush, Dante
That one I had
Martin,
no clue about. Nope.
Jack Perry,
Nope.
ROH World Champion Mark Briscoe,
All right.
Big Take, Konosuke Takeshita, and then a 6th. An unannounced, whoever TBD is. I heard he's having a big year.
Takeshita's in a ladder match?
Takeshita's in this one. Yeah.
What the H is going on?
Yeah. Somebody's got to be the big guy.
Is there an Okada match?
No.
Love that. I love that for him.
No
That's
Okada.
great. That is great. Very happy for him.
Yeah. That might change. I don't know if they're going to add something.
Okay.
Maybe a Bucks Okada versus
Acclaimed trios match.
I guess maybe the Acclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
So we get Okada and Billy Gunn face to face.
Battle of Athletes.
Right? Chicken and rice versus whatever Okada eats. Because it's definitely not chicken and rice. He's not chicken and rice.
Okada looks great.
He does look great. He's just not on the chicken and rice.
Yeah. Okada looks great though.
Yeah.
Looks like a wrestler.
Follow-up? What's a bigger pandemic in wrestling right now? Chicken and rice or going overseas and getting your hair fixed?
Oh, going overseas and getting your hair fixed is more like offendable.
Okay. But more people are getting on the chicken and rice.
Right, but that should be applauded.
Why shouldn't going overseas and spending 1 mortgage, 2 mortgages, possibly 3 mortgages, however much it takes to make the hair, some people aren't wig aficionados. They can't make it work. They need the real deal. They need somebody to stab them in the head with a fork laced with hair follicles to bucha
Because I'm
them.
old school.
Yeah.
I'm old school. And if your hair is going, you gotta lose a hair versus hair match.
You gotta go home.
Those are the rules.
Kurt Angle did it.
It's gotta go.
Gotta go.
That's just how it is. Either you need a brand new character where you shave your head, or you end up getting your hair shaved for a payday.
You could
Those
do
are
what
two options.
You could do what Phil did and wear a mask.
Exactly. Hey, a little bit of character change. Can do something different.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's I'm very excited where AEW is right now. I'm very jealous of the boys being able to go to Collision on Thursday. One of these days we'll join you for one of them somewhere, somehow. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's definitely interesting to see where AEW is going. And, you know, we still have we have one more Dynamite before Forbidden Dough.
Believe so.
So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm ready to see where everything's going. Is there anything else in the AEW side of things that interests you, that get your little spider senses tingling?
No, not really. That's it.
Fair enough. Moving on to the other side of the house, do we want to talk about what happened on Monday? Want to talk about what happened on Friday?
Let's go chrono.
Okay, we're gonna chronologically do this. So, a lot of stuff happened on Monday Night Raw, actually.
Yeah, and I think it's good we're talking about it here in the middle portion because we are the last of the network to get to Monday.
Right.
So, you know, we'll wrap things up here with our thoughts on Monday, but we will be the first to get to talk about Friday.
Yes. So, couple things happened on the way to the zoo. Looks like Alpha Academy's officially Splitsville.
Good.
Otis and company have finally left Chad Gable high and dry. More on that later. Drew McIntyre quits, quote unquote. Very interested to see, especially from what happened on Friday. I'm very curious as to how it gets retconned on Monday. But the big takeaway is from all of the weeks and months of cryptic QR codes and random Twitch takeovers and social media posting. The Wyatt SICKS, SICKS, have made their formal debut. Did you watch the unveiling of the SICKS?
Sure did, man. I actually ended up watching a good bit of Raw, more than I intended to, because the NBA Finals was a blowout. Boston sucks.
Basketball.
And so yeah, I ended up watching a little bit more Raw than I planned. So yeah, watched a good bit. Knew an angle was coming, so yeah, stuck around. I watched it in real time. Did you?
I did. I actually watched it live and in living color, Daddy.
So what was your what was your expectation for the debut? Did it end up like exceeding or meeting your expectations?
Marcus, they made it look like they killed people. It exceeded expectations.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here for that. And then you give me the Fiend stuff, and I'm here for that. But I have been borderline checked out of everything that like this Uncle Howdy revamp has done with the new and improved Wyatt family, right? I'll say this.
I could say new. I don't know about the improved part, but
Well, I mean, there's more of them.
yes. But add all of them up and they don't equal half of a Brody.
Right, but it's Moneyball. It's a Moneyball situation, right?
Yeah, if all the pieces actually add up to be more value than the original, but they don't.
Well, so it's different because it's actual value versus perceived value, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at it from WWE's lens, they are moneyballing this. Because Harper, for right or wrong, probably like wasn't that valued by WWE.
Right, he never was.
Case in point, they let him go.
Right.
So if you're basing it off of WWE standards, then absolutely this is great. This is equal to or greater than market value. Because you're getting somebody who still hasn't. You're still got somebody who still has not hit their ultimate potential in Nikki Cross, I think. And I think right now she's in a position where she can actually like give me a different version of the version of Nikki Cross that we all loved in Sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Joe Gacy is not a leader, which is the hardest part to believe from his schism group. But him being an underling, he's a solid hand. He can work. Dexter Lumis, that's another guy who he's captivating on television, but I don't know how well he's captivating when he's not Dexter Lumis. Right. And he's whatever he is now for the Wyatt SICKS.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got like the two emotional stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Redbeard, you've got Rowan, who's doing this for Bray, doing this for Harper. Loved seeing the thought or the nod to him. The back of his mask is Harper's skull mask from the Bludgeon Brothers. And then of course you've got Uncle Howdy himself, Wyndham, or not Wyndham, but Bo. So like I said, like my expectations were severely low, right? Like I think the most into it I ever was watching that Bray doc, which was cool until I realized that it was a propaganda machine for this new character, which some people like me are excited about and other people aren't. And I was kind of in that other ticket until I saw what happened on Monday. And the presentation of it all just like pulled me in, like a gravitational field around a black circle painted on a brick building by the Roadrunner, right? It's like it's a painted thing, but then somehow Wile E. Coyote gets sucked in through the black hole, right? That's kind of how I was.
Okay.
I thought it was a home run.
Okay. So my next question to you is,
Sure.
What do you think is like realistic expectations for this group moving forward? Like, I guess what is, aside from honoring Bray, which I'm sure is
First and foremost
for the people involved, when it comes to the actual product on TV and the storytelling, like what's the motive? What are the realistic expectations?
We get a fake murder every week. and I don't
All
care
right.
who, and I don't care how. No, I honestly I don't know. I think it's interesting that their first actual target is Chad Gable. Because to me, they're positioned as a team or a group that is. It's weird, right? When The Undertaker debuted, he's absolutely evil, and like you're supposed to boo him because he's like dark and mysterious and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then very quickly, he is not that, and he is cheered.
Yeah.
I think we pulled a lot of those curtains back already with the Wyatt SICKS. But it makes sense for them to go after Chad Gable if you look at it from a story purpose, like a storyline wise,
Absolutely.
because they're an amalgamation of misfit toys who had their families broken apart.
Right.
Nikki with Sanity and Dexter Lumis with The Way and Joe Gacy with Schism. And then, of course, Rowan, a part of the original Wyatt family. And then, of course, Bo. So, like, Chad is the patriarch of the Alpha Academy who has abused his family.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking it out on him. A little pound of flesh deal. Where do we go from there afterwards? What is, to quote a close personal friend of mine, what is the logical next step from here? Like, I'm already hooked on the Chad Gable thing, right? I'm bit. I'm locked in. But what's after that?
And to me, when I saw the Chad Gable thing, I absolutely immediately recognized, okay, Chad Gable got because he didn't have his family anymore. Like, that's not a coincidence. But I don't think there's any way WWE anticipated for Chad Gable almost gunshot wound to the temple would be the main talking point coming out of this.
Considering the fact that, I don't know if you follow closely to the Instagram, but Adam Pearce has already done his This Monday on Raw post.
Okay.
And it is literally pilfered with cut-ins and like zaps from the Wyatt SICKS. Because the video from Adam Pearce is like WWE social media has had a couple of their accounts hacked. Nobody knows what happened. We've gotten control of all of the accounts that were hacked. Chad Gable is medically cleared, and he'll be competing in the Money in the Bank qualifier on Monday with Brawny Strowman's and Bronson Reed. But the Wyatt SICKS stuff was like cutting in every time Pierce was talking about Gable.
So, like, to me, like, I've been a part of a couple things that weren't supposed to be as over as they ended up getting. That seemed like a quick, like, oh shoot, we have to address this because this ended up, like, the Chad Gable element of it ended up getting way more over than they anticipated. They just thought they could jump Chad Gable and move on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it became a thing that stuck around for a couple days. So, like, I find that part interesting. I don't know, man. Like, there's 7 main hours of WWE programming that are basically live and new every week.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you mean to tell me in those 7 hours something like this can't exist? It should be able to exist. They have so much TV time that they don't know what to do with a good hour and 20 minutes of Raw every week.
This week they kind of did.
This week they kind of did, but this week was an outlier.
Yeah, like this week in wrestling, I would put this Monday through Friday of wrestling. I'd take it out. This is a red letter week.
Yeah.
Like the wrestling was great.
Yeah.
The
Just
WWE and
things lined
AEW
up.
killed it.
Things lined up for Raw because they also had the Money in the Bank qualifiers. There's a level of focus there with the matches. And then you had cleaning up from Clash at the Castle.
Yep.
And then you knew you were going to get this Wyatt thing to probably end the night. So all you had to do was put in an order. The show was already booked, though.
Right.
We all knew what we were getting ahead of time.
Right.
So in that sense, it was easy, and I think that's what makes it an outlier. Most other Mondays, it's, oh boy, that first hour of Raw really felt like the first 2 hours. Like,
right.
It's rough. So like, yeah, there should be more stuff and more stories and different characters and more groups that are allowed to exist in WWE that aren't just chasing a title.
Yeah.
Turning into a psychopath for no good reason. All of the turning on my partner. All of the usual tropes that are on WWE TV. But Triple H or not, there is not a track record of things like this being allowed to exist outside of those 7 hours, because there is a formula, there is a box. And even with Triple H now in control of those boxes, there are still boxes and there is still a formula. There is still a recipe as to how WWE is made.
It's just a different recipe.
Just because he adds in a couple different herbs and spices here and there doesn't not make it the same recipe.
I don't even know if it's the same recipe yet. Like, I think they're, like, let's say, for example, we're equating this to like meatloaf, right? We're still making meatloaf.
Sure.
But some people add certain things to their meatloaf. Some people don't. Like,
the output is still the same. The product is still the same.
Yes.
Right. The result is the same.
The recipe is different.
Right. Maybe how we're getting there is a little bit different. Yada yada. But like,
yeah.
So to me, I'm like,
we're still doing WWE wrestling.
Correct. So like that already like pigeonholes this thing. Like this, I don't think can be successful. And it has nothing to do with who's involved. It has nothing to do with the motives, whatever. I just don't think things like this WWE does well with, because there is a level of creativity that is needed to make this kind of thing make sense across your product that WWE cannot commit to. Like Joe pointed out on At Odds with We Need Wrestling, Drew McIntyre, or he pointed out on Twitter, I believe, but he pointed out like Drew McIntyre shows up on SmackDown, which we'll get to, and like, so Drew McIntyre can get into the building, but like the Wyatt family can't. Like how does that make sense? And yeah, but I guess that might segue over into SmackDown, because on Raw, Drew McIntyre quits, which again is another WWE trope. But to me, I thought the quitting was like, maybe if they wanted to go this route, a cool way of explaining like why he showed up on SmackDown.
Right, because technically he's not a WWE, like the brand, they're holding to the brand split, which is kind of like why, to me, the Wyatt SICKS isn't on SmackDown, because their target's not on SmackDown. Their target's on Raw. They have no reason to be on SmackDown yet, but they just go and come as they please. They're transient. I don't think, to Joe's point on We Need At Odds, there's no contract negotiations. I don't know who the spokesman for the Wyatt SICKS are. Are you just talking to like the Bray Lantern head? Like, is that it? But you know, I think the Drew quitting thing is interesting. What hurts it, here's what really hurt it for me. The fact that like a month and a half ago on social media, they did that whole hullabaloo about The Rock sending a sword to Drew McIntyre at dinner.
Yeah.
Thanking him for re-signing with the WWE.
Yep.
Like, I know we talked about it last week with like a new level of kayfabe, right? but you want to see all the backstage stuff. You want to know the ins and outs.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular instance, knowing that in and out hurt me on Monday.
Yeah.
Because if you never showed that, you still have the talks of everybody in the back of their head going, well, Drew's unhappy. They're not giving Drew his opportunities. And you can cross over what you think is backstage kayfabe, and you put real on-camera stuff in front of it. You stack the WrestleMania event, all of the CM Punk stuff, plus Clash at the Castle. And that's enough. If you're frustrated enough, those 3 instances, that's enough for somebody to quit.
And another cool thing that they could have done is play off of Punk's biggest angle, which is the whole summer of Punk in 2011, where the whole hook of it is, hey, this is my last match under contract. You could have had that with Drew, with him saying, I'm not under contract. I don't have to show up to fight CM Punk. And then you can do a little bit of a story where CM Punk is actively trying to get McIntyre signed so you can get a match with him. I don't know.
It's too creative, Marcus. It's too creative. And therefore, not a good idea. But getting to SmackDown, we're in Chicago. Punk is there, even though he's a Raw superstar. But they kind of hand waved it away because during the Clash at the Castle press conference, Punk got a written. It's weird, like, you know how
pass to SmackDown.
So I'm gonna go a little farther. So like, in 2013, 2014, we have like middle management drama with our alphabet, like who's our COO and who is like
right,
who's our director of this and everything or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, our authority figures are like teachers. So like, oh, I got an excused written absence from Adam Pearce to miss Raw, so I can go to I can go to Chicago and see my doctors, and I'll make an announcement on SmackDown about my future on Raw because I'm in Chicago already.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Adam Pearce like, yeah, sure, whatever, Punk, Goldbot Mafia, whatever. And like, Nick Aldis is like, we'll take Punk for the night. Now what we got on SmackDown was pretty fun. With Paul Heyman showing up, who's my man is going through it. He is going through active, like, I don't know. Just take me with you.
Yeah, like, man, I actually really liked all of that. Like, maybe this is some of the recipe that's getting changed, right? Like, that is a loose end that would have never been tied up. Like, that path would have never been revisited before. And so I thought it was cool that, like,
right,
they did a bit of storytelling. They're like, hey, like, these two, yeah, have a checkered past. Last time, like, Punk was here and they were in the company at the same time. But, like, time heals all wounds. They still have a lot of love and respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, that's cool. People operate like that. That happens. I get that. And yeah, so I thought all of that was cool. And then like Heyman coming out, like trying to like send the warning with love.
Like,
please leave.
Hey, I know you want to be cleared, but if you don't get out of here, you ain't never going to be cleared because these Samoan headhunters are coming for you.
And the motive was really cool. That like, yeah, they know Chicago's your city, but like they're trying to establish their own brand of dominance, and like you're interfering with that.
Yeah, like you're on their turf. Like,
yeah,
it's real.
They're looking to take the town from you. I thought like that's cool.
Yeah, the old bloodline was very much a respectful organization.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't get violent. They did not get violent unless, like, it's time to get violent, right? It definitely felt like an old school mob boss. Like, hits were orchestrated. They were calculated. It was like pinpoint precision with, like, here's who our target is. Here's who we're going after. And now, of course, the old Don is gone. The new Don has moved in. And they're like, all right, now we're cracking skulls. Everybody gets this work. And literally, that is how it's been since, like, moment one under Solo, who is the savage of the bloodline. Like, there's a quote. It's been used in it's in one of my favorite movies, Arrival. But if all you're given as, like, a child is a hammer, then everything you see is a nail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no tact because all you have is a hammer. Like, all you know in your life is this hammer, right? And in Solo's case, all he knows is the knife, right? He's a savage. All he knows is the weapon. He doesn't have couth. He doesn't have. There's no strategy aside from, like, combat tactics, right? And look at who's surrounding him, right? Butcher of the Bloodline, Tama Tonga, infamous Tongaloa. And then we get effing Jacob Fatu.
Are you shocked it happened? Because, like,
I'm shocked at how good he looked.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But just off the basis of him showing up, I thought it was going to be one of those things where it's like, he might be signed, but he also may never show up. Like, for one reason or another, it seems like there is a rep that might be out there about this guy. And you can say what you want about him being accused of no showing charity events, but keeping his money. To that, as a worker, I say, it's a business. It's not a charity. I'm not mad at it. I'm sure the promoter didn't go home empty-handed in the name of charity. None of my business. I thought that maybe there is a chance, for whatever reason, maybe this guy just never shows up.
Right.
But he showed up.
And not only, like, put it into perspective, right? He debuts against the equivalent of The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and, like, Triple H or The Undertaker. Like, you've got...
Yeah, it's like Kane, Undertaker, and Rock. Like, those
Kane,
are
Undertaker,
the three comps,
bang, bang. And Jacob Fatu is, like, starting to wash these dudes.
And the way, like, not to be like a, you know, I don't have much of a theater experience, right? But, like, one of the things I do know is that you don't sell that you're royal. Like, royalty sells for you. People act like you are the big deal, right?
Yes.
The king doesn't have to act like the king. People treat him like the king, and that's
king
how you
doesn't
know
travel.
he's the king, right? That is what they've been doing with the bloodline, which, like, I'm very surprised that, like, WWE is capable of pulling off. But, like, whether it's Solo, whether it's God, or now Jacob Fatu, everybody has sold for these dudes. And on the other end of that, they're all holding up their end of the bargain with, like, Tama overperforming and, like, exceeding my expectations. To me, like, Camacho is, like, to me, somebody's got to be the trail man, and he's fine. He's fine. I'm not expecting a lot.
He's just a dude.
He's fine.
Like,
right. He's a big body. No problems there. Solo, I understand people not believing Solo, whether he's too young, he doesn't have the presence, whatever. I can't debate that. But what I can say, all they need from him is to keep Roman busy from getting the WWE title again. Whether that takes 3 months, 6 months, a year, that is his goal. And I think he is in line to accomplish that and to be that. And anything on top of that is gravy. Don't need anything more from him.
Mhm.
If he's never seen or heard from again after Roman comes back and we get the original Bloodline reunion
Mission
and
accomplished.
that story plays out, mission accomplished. Great. Because that's going to be all-time great stuff within WWE. That's all we need.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like his one lane that he's heading towards that he's doing fine with. But man, Jacob Fatu though,
Mm-hmm.
it's like steroids for your wiener.
It's like steroids for your wiener. But legal.
He's like if you took like parts of Roman Reigns and like parts of like Umaga and parts of like Kevin Steen and like you just rolled them up. Like that's what I saw.
He has such a look. Like the closest thing I can think of is like if R-Truth had like a evil mean streak. Because R-Truth
was smoking cigarettes. That was great.
Like if R-Truth is another person who has a very distinct, unique look in the realm of the WWE universe, right?
Yeah, it was that 3 or 4 weeks in 2011. Like that was when R-Truth was like really entertaining and like crazy, like smoking cigarettes and like jumping people, like
and wearing Confederate soldier outfits. And yep,
oh man,
yep, you know, but like Jacob Fatu looked like $1 million. He was presented like $1 million.
yeah.
He got the best of Cody and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. And Solo did his part too. I don't want to not give Solo credit, right? Like, Solo had the jump on Cody. Here comes the Avengers. They even the odds, and Solo gets backed into the corner. And then you see him change and flip it and get super hyped. And like everybody's like, "What are you talking? Like, why are you so excited?" And as soon as they turn around, they start eating it from Jacob, right? Yeah, man. I thought that Tama was going to be Solo's Solo.
Yeah.
It's Jacob.
Yep.
I don't want Jacob to wrestle ever.
Yeah.
Jacob has to be the like grimy, because also look at how they were presented after the beatdown and after the big table splash.
Mm-hmm.
Solo and Jacob side by side, one's in the air.
Right.
The Gorillas come in and look shook. And they're like, I guess we're the ones. like if people within your own group are afraid of you, what does that say? Right? And it's not like a wild card Brian Pillman type situation. It's like this guy is gonna kill me.
Like the guys who are saying like we're gonna kill you are afraid of the guy in the group because like he might kill them.
Some people talk about being killers, and some people are too busy doing the killing to talk about killing you.
Yeah. Man, what a debut. What a debut. And it brings me to like a point I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because the weather is getting warmer and I'm paying extra special close to my attention to my baseball team this year because we're doing good.
You don't have to bring it up.
Much like the New York Yankees, when it comes to talent, WWE is at their best when they raid. It just is what it is. Acquiring people through free agency and can't use the T word, but rhymes with hampering. Like, that's how WWE gets their talent. It's been that way for 40 years. And you know what? It's worked.
Negotiating.
Who they are. It's who they are. It's how they get their talent, and it works for them. And every once in a while, you got a homegrown guy or two who you can build around. But for the most part, you are who you are. You get top international talent, and you get top free agents, and maybe you get word to some people who are under contract who maybe aren't supposed to be talking, and you lock them up too. That's just who and what WWE is when it comes to talent. And I thought Jacob Fatu, for never spending a second in their system, like, that was for the better, because you can't get this kind of aggression from a souped up warehouse in Orlando.
Right.
I think that's a big reason why, like, these bloodline guys are sticking out, is like WWE getting back to their roots, when it's like, okay, get away from the performance center. That might be fine for some NXT kids. That might be fine for taking your gym guys, your athletes, whatever, teaching them how to wrestle, fill out your roster. Maybe you can get some people to be players on the main card. But when it comes to the main product, we need people who've been there and done it.
Right.
That's just how WWE is right now, and it's for the better, I think.
And I think that this might end up being a part of the legacy of AEW, to tie it all full circle.
Yep.
If AEW never existed, Jade Cargill, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and effing Jacob Fatu are all in NXT.
Yep.
None of them come immediately into the main roster. None of them. They all go to learn the WWE system, especially if Vince is around. Like we talked about it earlier. Under Vince's watch and during the NXT era, only one person skipped the line and went immediately to TV. And that's AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one. Since then, we've had 4 people jump the line. And 3 are in the bloodline. And it speaks to AEW, right? Because AEW is such an intriguing place to wrestle. With the favored schedule, with just the talent base that they have, like, especially for like the wrestlers who wrestle, like those who love to wrestle and they don't necessarily like the sports entertainment song and dance of it, and they like the minutia between the ropes. That's AEW for you. AEW's got that for you in spades, and if you need a good match, you can talk to 30 dudes on that roster who can easily get you 3 or better stars to Dave Meltzer and go from there, right? So you have to compete. Like, what can you give them that isn't that? You got to put them on the main roster. You got to showcase them like stars.
And that's like where AEW comes in as like the challenger brand. And we talk about how successfully AEW did challenge WWE in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. That's one of the aspects, is getting free agents and getting people and dropping them in on your TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the better. So yeah, I can't wait to see what AEW continues to do. I feel like with Forbidden Door and the build up, they're finally getting the ship turned around. That started to really get off course like last October, last November.
When Adam Cole got hurt. So
Adam Cole got hurt.
Grand Slam.
MJF multiple angles. Now a lot of stuff that got AEW off course from what it usually was.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of that. I think a lot of that can get pointed to the Adam Cole situation with him being hurt, because he was so tied to Max that like you had to then like Max got overexposed because he's doing everything that the two of them would have done together,
mm-hmm.
and it elongated that devil.
Right. But to me, that was a problem. That was the top program to begin with.
Well,
It's like, I don't think in a world where CM Punk exists that program would have been happening on top.
Well, he's too busy worrying about real glass, brother.
Somebody's got to.
Hey, ask Braun Breaker and Ricochet.
It's probably fake.
It was a real car. WWE loves beating up rentals or real person's cars. Like, does the Fink have a car that they could use? I don't know. But yeah, man, SmackDown was tight. Dynamite was tight. From all accounts, from We Needed to Add Odds, Collision was tight. Raw was tight. Trying to think, is there anything else?
It's just like we have a really good week of TV wrestling. Like, that's not really contingent on a pay-per-view. Like, usually we get good weeks like coming out of a pay-per-view, or like the direct go home into a pay-per-view week. But like, we're in the middle portion here. Like, we still got a week to go before Forbidden Door. We're still a couple weeks away from Money in the Bank. Like, and we got meaningful stuff on TV that happened. Like, that's pretty cool.
For sure. It's interesting that we're coming up on like a very, very hot season between. So we've got Forbidden Door, we've got Money in the Bank, we've got All In, All Out, SummerSlammed
out,
Bash in Berlin, Wrestle Dream. Well, Wrestle Dream's going to be in October now, but Bash in Berlin is end of August.
Yeah.
August 31 is Bash in Berlin.
We got a jam-packed, 2.5 months left.
6 papes in 3 months.
And that's not counting if you're a NXT person.
Yeah. And it's not even it's not even 3 months, because technically Forbidden Door is the end of June.
Yeah.
And so
it's 2 months.
It's 2 months. It's 6 papes in 2 months. I'm shook. Oh, and All Out. So yeah, All Out is September 7, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's the week after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they push it? What was on Labor Day?
I think they were saying like, oh, it's just too close or whatever. But is it a weird thing where like Labor Day weekend is that last weekend in August? I think the way the calendar lined up. I want to check real quick. Yeah, the way the calendar lines up, Labor Day weekend is September. It's August 31st, September 1st, and then that Monday, September 2nd, is Labor Day.
Yeah, so I guess SummerSlam or Bash in Berlin.
Yeah.
Which to me, because All Out was gonna be on the Sunday night anyways, and Bash in Berlin is the Saturday.
Yeah.
2-day pay-per-view, baby.
Yeah.
Just back to back it.
Yeah, I don't know if a week of TV is going to affect like the pay-per-view at all, but I do think that like
some gap between All In and All Out. Yeah. I mean, I think right now All Out has overstayed its welcome, especially now that All In's back.
And they've kind of burned out Chicago. Like, that ain't their town anymore.
No, it is not. Like, I get it. That's where you're home and native. That's where All In happened, and you got your plaque on the side of the the building there at the not Allstate Arena.
Yeah, what is it? The Sears or whatever. Sears place.
Sears, Roebuck, Boscov's, the Boscov's Dome, so to speak. I feel like it's the Wind Trade Arena or the Wind.
That sounds right.
Wind Trust something.
That sounds right.
Yeah. But anything else from this week in TV wrestling?
No.
Well, Marcus, it's about that time.
And now, Tim Taylor presents The Undertaking.
It's like steroids for your wiener.
So this week, this week on The Undertaking, for your wiener, this week, there is no new Blue Chew read. If you want to catch it live, it's still the steroids for your wiener bit. But this week, they have the Jason Hervey of Sean Ross Sapps's Chris Van Vliet on as a guest. And they actually do some cross promotion. And Chris Van Vliet has The Undertaker on his show, Insight. And Van Vliet is a guest on Undertaker's show. But this is not a Chris Van Vliet recap show. This is an Undertaker podcast recap show.
2 shows, 1 cup.
Please don't do that. But this week, it's a lot of standard fare. Not a lot of really good stories because Chris is kind of interviewing The Undertaker while him and his host are interviewing him. It's tough, man. Being the interview guy dies hard. Like if you are a question asker, like you gotta ask them questions whenever you can.
And also, like, I'm assuming Chris Van Vliet probably not in the military at any point.
Not a soldier, not a cop,
Not a soldier.
not a pseudo dead person.
Probably very little in common.
He's a Canadian.
Jim Bro.
He's
Arms.
trained. He's
Jimmy,
taking a
you're looking
bump.
good.
He looks good. He looks like $1 million. But they talk about a couple of interesting things. Like they talk about like the "This is awesome" chant. And how like Chris Van Vliet actually made an excellent point where it's like when fans chant "This is awesome," what they really mean is this is the coolest thing we've seen tonight. But that doesn't really like come across as good. Like it doesn't sound as catchy as "This is awesome." Because not everything that gets a "This is awesome" chant is actually awesome.
Right, because now it's a conditioned response. If you just lay there and do nothing, you'll get a "This is awesome" chant.
Yo, just
Like that's sorry everyone, the magic, but like that's just the trick. Like do a big spot and then lay there and they'll chant "This is awesome."
have you ever gotten a "This is awesome" chant?
I have. You know what it was after? A big spot when we laid there and we did nothing. And I predicted it.
Who did you get it with?
"This is awesome." I don't even remember where I was at. It was pretty recent. I don't remember where it was at though. I don't remember what I was doing. No clue.
Fair enough. But they talked about "This is awesome." They talked about they talked a little bit about the Bone Daddy match from WrestleMania 35. But they ask a very important, or not a very important question, but a fun question to Chris Van Vliet. They put him on the spot and they ask him about what his Mount Rushmore of Undertaker matches / moments are.
Oh.
So I want to give you Chris Van Vliet's Mount Rushmore, and then I want you to give me your Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
of Undertaker matches / moments. Okay.
Okay.
So for Chris Van Vliet, number 1 is the match with Mankind Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
Number 2 is WrestleMania 25 with Shawn Michaels. Number 3 is the wedding of Stephanie McMahon and all the build up to it, including Where to, Stephanie?
Okay. So he included a whole 3 weeks of TV. It wasn't a moment or a match, but okay.
Well, it was specifically it was the abduction of Stephanie McMahon.
Okay. All right.
But that led into other stuff too.
Okay.
But the big thing they talked about was Where to, Stephanie. And then number 4 was WrestleMania 30. So those are Chris Van Vliet's matches, moments of The Undertaker. Mount Rushmore. How close do you, without going through your list, how close do you think he is to being on the button?
All right. So he had, oh man, Wrestler Brain's great. Okay. So he had the WrestleMania 30 match.
WrestleMania 30. That's on the board.
The Streakender.
Yep.
He
that's
had
on the board.
Where to, Stephanie / the wedding.
Stephanie. Yep.
Okay. He has the WrestleMania 25 community theater match.
The community theater match is the 26 match to me.
Okay. And then what was the other one?
Hell in a Cell with Mankind.
Hell in a Cell. Okay.
I give him 2 out of 4. I think Hell in a Cell is definitely on the list.
Okay.
I think the streak ending is on the list.
Okay.
But I would probably change 25 in the wet and the Where to, Stephanie.
Okay. So I mean, you're the Taker expert. What's yours? I'm writing mine down because this is a good question.
Okay. So I'm keeping Hell in a Cell. I'm keeping WrestleMania 30. I'm including Royal Rumble 94.
Okay.
We talked about this last week.
Sure did.
Mark, you're listening. We shill your Blue Chew ads here all the time. We need you to talk. We need a lean 45 on everything that happened at Royal Rumble 94. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Did you get the pick who came out? Were you trying to get guys extra payday? Yeah, tell us everything.
Was Marty doing his best to say, hey man, I'll go up on that rig?
Was it really Marty or was it a local indie worker? Because I've heard conflicting stories.
There's a lot of questions about who that was, and all I can say,
only one man who could answer them.
Yeah, there's only one, and right now,
suckers would like to know.
I mean, we would like to know about what's going on. So WrestleMania or Royal Rumble 94 for me, and then my 4th is just kind of a cop-out answer, and a lot of people won't like it, but to me, the Boneyard match is such a perfect encapsulation of everything Undertaker. He shoulda stopped all wrestling after the Bone Daddy match. No mas. No more tights, no more flights. He's done, right off into the sunset, because you got the perfect mixture of Dead Man Taker, Badass Taker, and Mark Calloway. His words, not mine. But that match was a perfect depiction of The Undertaker, his last ride, set to the tune of Metallica's what's the name of that song? Oh man, I gotta figure out.
It was one of the newer songs. It was right.
Yeah, I don't even remember the name of the
Moth
effing album. What?
Moth into Flame or something like that?
It's from that album.
Okay.
But it's something about dying.
It's all about control.
It's all about control. If you want to listen, Hardwired.
Stock.
It's Hardwired to Self-Destruct is the album. Can you just let me click Wikipedia? Can you just put in big bold letters? Thank you. The name of the song is Now That We're Dead.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I remember that now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got my list.
All right, go ahead.
Got my list. Number one, I knew this as soon as you said it. This had to get the main spot. SummerSlam '97.
Okay.
Mr. Hitman, Shawn Michaels. To this day, I think that match is still the blueprint for main event style wrestling.
That is a horrible Undertaker moment, but I'll give it to you.
But he's a part of a great match, though. He is a big part.
He's a part of a great match and an unbelievable chair shot. And
somebody had to take it.
He was the catalyst for the screw job. You heard it here first.
Second spot.
Dog spot.
Taker and Kane breaking Vince's leg. Where Vince gives him the double burn and they turn around and then they beat him up and break his leg on this ring steps.
Yeah.
That is such a great segment. It's such a great segment. So that gets the second spot. Another spot, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the WrestleMania 17 match with Triple H.
Okay.
It is a garbage Attitude Era style brawl with lots of plot holes, and I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's juiced up, gassed up Triple H, in his best form.
Excuse me. Chicken and rice.
Sorry, chicken and rice Triple H, just weeks away from tearing his quad.
Oof.
It's rolling Undertaker.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is. And I think it's just a great semi-main event. So I love that match.
Mm-hmm.
And then my last spot goes to follow that. Taker Batista WrestleMania 23.
Okay. Fair enough. That's solid. I was for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have an honorable mention? My honorable mention is what do you call it? Killing Hulkamania, Survivor Series 91.
Mine is it's less of the Undertaker, but he's involved in it. If SummerSlam 97 counts, but I believe this is in the lead up to the WrestleMania 17 match where Stephanie has a restraining order on the Undertaker. Mm-hmm. And Kane is up in the rafters and has Stephanie in a gorilla press.
On SmackDown, baby. Yep.
Stephanie, get on. Kane, send Stephanie down here.
What do you want? I want a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. I can't do that. Kane, send Stephanie on down here. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. That's how you threaten bodily harm on somebody.
Kane has Stephanie in a gorilla press.
Chilling.
For 3 minutes.
Chilling.
Just locked out.
Oh my God. Which, say what you want to say about Mayor Glenn today. Kane was awesome.
Kane is awesome.
Kane died. I don't know what happened to Kane.
Yeah. Don't know what happened to the dude. He came back in that Walters mask, and I just lost track of him after that.
Yeah, man. He was doing some weird stuff. He was like a corporate analyst, apparently. He was, I don't know.
The real Kane died and they replaced him.
Yeah, that's who we have now. But yeah, he was so strong.
So yeah. Low-key big body guy, Kane.
Yeah. Whoo, baby.
All right. Well, Tim, that was actually an intro. Excuse me, I had a little soda burp there. I had a big gulp Slurpee. You know what flavor?
What flavor?
Coca-Cola. Only the best. With a straw.
With a straw.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable undertaking, and I can't wait to go 6 feet under next week.
I will tell you this right now. I'm going to put this out into the ether. If I tune into 6 feet under this Monday and Undertaker is talking to another paramilitary guy, I don't care. Or I'll even go one step further. An MMA guy who thinks he's a military guy.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a military dude or an MMA dude or a cop dude, I'm watching the Chris Van Vliet interview and we're doing the reverse undertaking.
Okay. I was going to say we could do the reverse Rushmore of like awful Taker moments.
Yeah, and it's going to be 6 feet under with Tim Kennedy. 6 feet. It's going to be every episode of the hearing a person who was your idol for like the first part of your life, hearing them say this in your ear wearing headphones.
It's like steroids for your wiener.
Like, I'm done. Like, I can't. Santa's dead.
Yeah,
like,
Santa said wiener. Takes you out of it.
Yeah. Like, it's funny hearing Joe go, it would have been worse if, like, would it have been worse if he'd have said for your pee-pee or for your cock?
I would have thought pecker is the way Undertaker would have went.
I would have liked ding-a-ling.
Mm.
I also thought Undertaker would have been more classy and he'd have been like, for your member. Or like.
Right, your piece.
Your piece.
Yeah.
Your hog. Like.
Yeah, they were onto it on the At Odds We Need Wrestling episode. You know, bazooka, AK-47. You know, some kind of
weaponry,
instrument of bodily harm.
You know the stuff the stuff that dreams are made of. I guess all that
Your
lead.
nuke.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, man, that I think wraps it up. No weekly purchases for you this week.
Collapsible seg.
Collapsed together. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. However you joined us. As a reminder, we did change our streaming, our platform for where we host. So if you're running into any issues finding our podcast on your regular feeds, let us know. We'll make it so. If not, you can always go to soon-to-be-named-network.tumblr.com. It's your home for this and so many other podcasts, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings of At Odds and Wrestling with Joe and Adam and We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett. Check everything out at STBN Network on Twitter. If anytime we're on any other podcasts on the network and we let Joe know, it goes there. Check out the link in our description for the TeePublic store, where you can get designs from all the other podcasts, including ours. Get some Bad Terry Lies shirts, Bad Terry Sucks Eggs, the usual. Check all that out. If you want to follow us on social media, you can at Not the Toolman for me, at the Wrestling Speakeasy for Marcus. If you know, at T&M Shows on Twitter, at Final Wrestling Place on Instagram. Love for you to be able to see all that. On Instagram, we put the show posts as well. Be sure to like and share the stuff that we post, man. It's super helpful for everybody to get their eyes and ears on the stuff. We really appreciate it. Also, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's a big help for us as well. We will be back next week for more fun and games here. It's going to be Forbidden Door weekend, so Marcus, sit by your mailbox. I think we're going to have a VHS coming in.
Ooh.
But right now, as we are in the midst of Up to Something season, right now, though, all that's left is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.